You want to see how everything's going with Rogan and his move to Spotify?
Yes,
Oh, I could do something for this. Hold on. Wait a second. I actually could do something for this now that I have a green screen. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. I could do this. So now we could talk Rogan. All right. So let's do it. Here we go.
The Rogan experience.
One thing I will say about the Spotify layout, though, like as a fan, you know, I want to tune into the pod sometimes. I find it hard.
Did he call it the pod?
Yeah, and why
did he call it the pod?
Yeah, and also why is he talking like some addiction recovery counselor from Celebrity Rehab?
He called it the pod.
The pod, but why is he's also speaking like this in a very Dr. Drew way. Very...
Yeah, you know, like when I'm listening to the pod, bro.
Who is this guy?
I've no idea. Joe Rogan experience. Fahim Anwar.
I love Rogan because Rogan will literally have the president of the United States on, and then the next day you're like, who is this guy? He'll have the president of the United States on, and then some open micer from the Comedy Store on the next day, and it's like, wow, talk about a wild discrepancy in guests.
People are saying that he's pretty funny, but I've never heard the guy, so who knows?
Tune into the pod sometimes. I find it hard to watch on my TV.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Is he eating?
I think he was eating.
You can hear that, right?
Sure, yeah. Well, whenever Rogan has a guest on that isn't specifically, or a guest that he doesn't necessarily respect, he'll just do whatever he wants.
Because he would not be munching in front of Elon Musk.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's funny how, forget about respecting the guest, right? You're still talking into the mic and going, no, I got it, bro. Holy. And you're like, okay, man. Like, what about us, Joe?
On that,
yeah,
they're gonna. It's eventually gonna be on all platforms in terms.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. It's just like it's
By the way,
nuts,
we're just
man.
smoking tobacco in here in Texas. Let's fucking keep that angle going. Let's keep lying to everybody and saying that it's just tobacco.
I thought isn't weed decriminalized in Austin? I think so.
I don't know.
No, someone in Texas.
I know that Texas is a place you just don't want to fuck around with it. And even if it is decriminalized in Austin, Rogan's still very much like a can't break the law, man. Like he doesn't want to ruin his image.
Of course.
Like even if it's just like even if you just get like a summons or something, like I'm sure he doesn't want that because Joe Rogan knows if he gets popped with a nickel bag of weed, it's international news. It's going to be, you know what I mean? It's going to be fucking 20 million hit pieces.
In terms of like television-based platforms, well, right now it's on Chromecast and it's going to be on Google Play and they're working on Roku and Apple TV. They're working on a bunch of different platforms that'll eventually be. But it's not as smooth as it probably should have been when we first transferred over in December. But they just weren't ready for the volume. They had never had a show. First of all, they created video because of the conversation we had about this podcast.
Yeah.
They wanted the podcast to be audio only. And my manager was like, think about the Elon Musk moment when Elon Musk is smoking weed.
It's huge.
Getting his dick sucked in a Cybertruck.
That's so embarrassing to say.
It is. It's
like
kind of cringy,
to be in
right?
a meeting and say, but bro, imagine that moment where Elon Musk smoked weed, man. Again, I've been saying this a lot lately. I am glad. I'm glad the Chinese are just going to fucking dominate us. We deserve it. They're just like, I got to go make more iPhone. And we're just sitting here going, bro, remember when, you remember when like Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan, dude, and he smoked weed, bro?
That is a viral moment that only happens with video. Where Elon's like, it's legal, right? I'm like, yeah, it's totally legal.
Huge.
And he's
I saw the
weed.
painting.
Yeah.
He smoked the weed, dude. Remember that? And then the Tesla stock price crashed, dude. Remember that? It was awesome. And they lost billions of dollars in market cap in one day.
Remember, I was at the airport, and I had sunglasses and a hat, and I'm on my way to Vegas. And I'm like looking at this CNN monitor, and it shows Elon smoking weed on my podcast. And I'm like, oh, no.
What a trip.
I was like, what have I done? But those moments, those crazy viral moments, they don't exist without video. And my manager said that to Spotify, and Spotify was like, "You're right." And then they started working on the video platform. And then, there's been a lot of weirdness, like a lot of, we're talking about like how people get a sense of who a person is without actually communicating with them, without actually being there with them, and you could define someone or have this like distorted perception of who a person is without actually communicating with them. That's one of the things that happened with Spotify with like some of their staff, where they thought I was transphobic or thought I was like a bad I saw one of their staff say that I was a shock jock.
Well, hold on a second.
You did kind of go.
Hold on a second.
You did kind of start out as a bit of a shock.
He's not now. I would say he's not now.
No.
But Rogan, when he started doing this stuff, was absolutely a shock jock. There's not. You got to listen to his early Rogans.
There was a lot of N-word F slurs.
Yeah, you got to listen to his earlier shit. Like we're talking like when he was still doing it from his house on like a 240p camera,
Red band.
Yeah, with the red band and stuff. He kind of was like. Remember the fucking Baby Bird challenge on Opie and Anthony that he was there and he was like, "Yeah, this is radio. This is fucking cool, dude." You kind of were. You're not anymore, maybe, but you definitely started that way.
Like that, I'm not even remotely
Yeah,
like
you're just
that.
a dude with a mic.
Yeah.
I always tell
Yeah,
people.
you're just a dude with a mic and a $200 million contract and a salt bath and a 10-bedroom home. You're just like a regular guy.
Just a regular
Look,
dude.
I don't care that Rogan has a lot of money. Good for him, honestly.
Your average Joe.
But I'm really fucking sick and tired of pretending like he's everyman Joe Rogan, because he's not everyman Joe Rogan. You don't get to you don't hang out with Elon Musk on a private jet and then come back and go, "Man, I'm just a normal guy, dude."
Because sometimes
I would almost respect Rogan more if he would just treat people like total shit all
If
the
he were to
time.
lean into it,
and just be like, "I fly private, you piece of shit. Get out of my way."
Yeah.
I walk. You know how I get on a plane? I walk across the tarmac with security guards.
Yeah.
I know he's a comic and stuff, so I see you more as a comic than anything.
This guy's a comedian.
He's a comic, yeah. People saying he's funny. That's what I've been
I mean, he
seeing.
might be one of those guys who's very funny. He might be very dry, but it's like his energy right now is very, it's like I've just been kind of like down since she left. Like he's got that kind of energy to him where I'm like, geez.
You didn't intend on this becoming as big as it's become. It's just organically grown, and people tune in because they want to tune in. You're not being force fed down people's throat. They're like,
Okay, again, that's bullshit. Good for Rogan. I'm glad that but to fucking pretend that when Rogan was exclusively on YouTube, that Rogan wasn't being force fed by YouTube's algorithm, that's a fucking lie.
Every one of our fans will tell you that's true.
Yeah, after all of our videos, whether we were talking to Rogan or not, after our clips, after our episodes, how many emails did you get? How many emails did I get? Messages saying like, "Dude, a Rogan video again, another Rogan video auto plays after your video, another Rogan
They
video."
will not
another Rogan
autoplay one of our videos into one of our videos. They just won't do it. It always goes, "All right, you got a couple minutes for Revenge of the Sis now. Check out this guy, this young, hot fucking prospect, Joe Rogan. This blue chipper."
choosing to listen to you.
Yeah, but I've actually, on purpose, never advertised for this show. I've never asked people to watch it. I've never gone on television shows and promoted it. I've never taken out any billboards or ads. Spotify did some of that stuff when I switched over to them, but I never did any of it.
So I was thinking,
Yeah, but right now, and it's not. To be fair, this is not him. But you've seen the Rogan ads on YouTube, right? Because I've been getting Rogan ads on YouTube, and I mean, not on my. I have ad blocker here and on my phone. But like if I watch on my Xbox, for example, you can't really ad block. And I see a lot of Spotify Rogan ads coming up now. Now, it's probably Spotify paying for them, but Rogan ads are creeping in places.
Odd when people hold you to the same
Thank God
standards.
for Brave
like
browser.
Yeah.
I almost never see ads on that thing anymore. I only get ads, like you said, like if I'm watching on my phone, if I'm watching in the app, I get ads. Like that's where I've seen the Rogan ads, but I don't see them on Brave, which is great.
NBC or these entities where you're just like a guy with a mic. You know what I mean?
But
It's
they
a
don't
little
like
different.
it because it gets much more of an audience than them. That's what freaks them
So
out. When you have these,
this is what we do. You go on Rogan's show and you just talk about him and his show.
How cool he is, yeah.
What a weird.
You'd be surprised how many episodes.
I'd have no problem in that situation going, is this what we're just gonna talk about your show.
Your cool show.
Like, it's like I used to have this guy I'd buy weed from in South Florida. He was a Jewish fella, and he lived in Boca. I know that's a shock, but he was one of those guys that every time you went to his house, he had to show you all of his stuff. He was one of those guys.
I know exactly the
You've
kind
met
of guy.
this guy, and it's so
I know exactly what you're talking about.
exhausting. And this is what that feels like. It's like going to somebody's house and they're showing you all their stuff, and you're like, I had a long drive back to Hollywood. Can I just get weed? I gotta go to work tonight. Like, you know, and they'd be like, yo, check this shit out, bro. I got this surround sound, dude. That I had to have 4 Puerto Ricans come put it in because it was like they had to put it drilling into the walls and shit. And you're like, that's fascinating. You do have the weed, though, right?
These huge multinational corporations that have thousands of employees, and they can't even touch the amount of reach that a guy with a podcast has.
Yeah.
That's madness for them.
I've seen clips of your like first.
Well, again, and
That's what marketing's for.
no, you're right. And the multinational corporations can't touch a guy with a podcast, but the guy with the podcast was being lifted up and pushed into people's faces by a multinational corporation.
Nah, man.
This wasn't people going to Joe Rogan's. They weren't going to JoeRogan.com to his private video server and finding him. I would venture to guess that most people, I'm sure there's a couple people that would say a little differently, but most people that ever ran into Rogan because of the YouTube algorithm. I would put money on it. I'll ask the chat room, how did you guys run into Rogan? Did you guys run into Rogan because of YouTube? It just came up as a recommended video? Because I understand the organic, but organic kind of, but it was really more pushed to you. It was like, hey, look at this guy. Hey, check this guy out. Hey, look at Rogan. Look at Rogan. Look at Rogan. Look at Rogan. Rogan was YouTube's fucking baby, you know? And I would say the one thing that does make me happy about Rogan leaving YouTube for Spotify was fucking YouTube a little bit, which kind of makes me happy that he kind of just said, fuck you guys, I'm taking my ball and I'm fucking out of here. Good for him. But it was because of YouTube. I would say most of Rogan's listeners weren't actively searched out. No one was actively searching out for Joe Rogan.
Madness for them.
I've seen clips of your like first episode or whatever, or pictures. It's
Terrible.
like absurd. It's absurd. You know,
Yeah,
and it's been an organic thing.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
You can see how it grows, but it's also a lesson to all these other comics too. Like, what's the difference? Well, the difference, I grind. I just keep going.
I can't, Mike. Mike, I can't. Mike.
I give up.
Mike,
I'm
I can't.
tapping out.
Mike, I can't. Mike, I
tapping out.
can't. Mike, I can't.
Rise and grind, bro.
I can't. I can't. Did he really say he grinds?
Yeah, bro, he grinds hard.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with that got you good at comedy. What got you good at comedy? Stage time.
Mm-hmm.
What gets you good at podcast time?
You know what I've
Just
noticed?
keep doing it.
Well, that's deep.
Even just doing my podcast, because especially during the pandemic.
What's it called? Dance time?
He-Man or Dance Hour.
Dance hour.
It's
At least-
hilarious that he came on this show and sucked Rogan's dick, and Rogan had to go, what's the name of your podcast? By the way, Rogan,
To be fair, I think he is trying to help him out because this guy's just babbling, and he is trying to get, like, he is probably saying, this kid's coming on here, like, at least get one fucking plug in.
No,
you know
but
what
he
I mean?
doesn't know the name of his podcast.
Oh, no, I
That's
know
my
he
point.
genuinely doesn't, of course, but why would he?
Because if you're grinding on a podcast, like when we have a guest on, we'll have a notepad open with like their information on it so we could at least know who we're talking to, right? If you're grinding.
Well, yeah, but I mean, fucking, it's, yeah, if you have like certain guests on, but if you're Joe Rogan and you've got whatever, Nassim Bogdanovich or whatever the fuck this guy's name is, are you really going to watch this guy's podcast?
Yeah, no, I get that he's not. I'm
Joe
not saying
Rogan's
you
too
should.
busy listening to Five Finger Death Punch at the gym,
Stop.
and rolling around on the ground with Eddie Bravo.
You're wrong. It's Avenged Sevenfold, and you're making a mockery out of the music you listen to. Oh, you fucking making a mockery out of the music you listen
Yeah,
to.
that's all he does now is listen to Five Finger Death Punch and roll around on the ground with Eddie Bravo, and that's fine.
He-Man or Dance Hour. Just when the pandemic hit, you leaned
I do have the old Joe Rogan background. I need for the green screen. I need the new Joe Rogan toaster background.
Can we
into
get the
what is
toaster
it?
background? I'd like the
We
toaster
could do the
background.
toaster background. We could definitely do the toaster background.
You know,
Whatever we
it's
need to
like
do.
Fucking, bro, think about like podcasting. Here we go with this conversation again.
So deep.
Yo, man, it's like think about like stand up or like podcasting. I'd rather not, Joe. I'd rather not think about either of those things.
Yeah. It's like when you're like me, like when I get up in the morning, like anybody could do this, man. It's wild. Like what I do is I get in one of my several salt tanks that I have in my home. Like all you need is 3 spare bathrooms. You don't have those? And you just meditate a little bit. And you know what I do? It's like I grind and I do DMT, and then I work less than I ever have in my life because I don't go to UFC stuff anymore either, and I won't do the voiceover work anymore either. And Spotify, bro, get this, they let me pre-record my shows, so I could put like 30 in a can in a week.
Yeah, and I just go
and then I just
soak
fucking
myself
hang
in
out,
some
dude.
saltwater tank.
It's fucking crazy,
awesome,
dude. It's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It really does. It's so funny how they're paying him all this money and he's putting in less effort than ever, and he's like, cool, man, this is great, I love this. But like the whole thing about talking about podcasting or comedy or acting, like show business people suck nowadays. I was watching this clip the other day of old Letterman when he was on the late night show, and he had Steve Allen came on his show. And Steve Allen was a legend. Everybody thought Steve Allen was like a huge legend at the time. And of course, Letterman's sucking his dick a little bit, but he was like, you're the guy that, invented this format. He's like, Johnny Carson obviously became the big dog, but like, you invented the TV variety show and the radio variety show. And like hearing Steve Allen have like humility and be humble, it's like if Steve Allen can be humble, you guys can, because he goes, oh, you invented all this. And he goes, well, I didn't invent it. I just did it first. He's like, somebody was going to come along and do this. He's like, I wasn't some genius. It was just that time was coming where radio and TV and theater were merging. And I saw variety shows and I was like, this would work on TV. He's like, but trust me, he's like, I'm not some visionary. He's like, because within a couple of years, somebody else was going to be watching the show and go, this belongs on TV. He's like, I just rushed to do it first.
Right.
And it's like, but these guys really sit around and think about like how, because that guy created an entire genre, Steve Allen. But these guys that do podcasts just hang out in their house and bang out a quick hour. And then they go, it's like the thing about, man, when you reach so many people, it's like, it's really profound, the relationship you have with your fans. It's like, shut up, dude. Stop it. You're not fucking shaping the world, dude. Stop. Have a little fucking humility.
Look, man, we're microscopic. We're fucking F-listers. Whatever. We do a stupid podcast for 38,000 people that subscribe on YouTube, and whatever, how many people that listen to us, and that's fine. I've never sat here and thought, man, I'm gonna change the world, man. Like I'm just gonna come on and phone my friend. Like that's pretty much it. That's my fucking mindset when it comes to this. And it should be probably everybody else's. Like a lot of these guys, when they get big, and not all of them, so to be fair, but they start taking themselves way too serious, like way too seriously. They really start thinking like that they're changing the planet. And I think that look, even with all this that we're saying, I don't hate Joe Rogan, okay? I'll say that right now. I don't hate Joe Rogan.
He's just fun to laugh at.
He's fun to laugh at. Joe Rogan, in terms of the things that we cover and the dummies that we cover and the idiots that we cover, Joe Rogan is pretty harmless for the most part.
Yeah.
But there's some things about Rogan that are very, very silly.
Yes.
For example, Rogan trying to be everyman when he's clearly not. And look, I'm not shitting on somebody's success, but like Mike said, I would rather you fucking just be honest about there was a real moment when Rogan had Rob Lowe on, and they were talking about like the industry and this and that, to where Rob Lowe had this real moment where he goes, dude, nobody understands. He goes, nobody understands what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about Hollywood and all these stuff. Like, most people listening don't even get this. And Rogan was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, so every once in a while you have a light bulb go off. But this whole, like, understanding what it's like to be every dude. Look, when I watch Carson, the Carson's a great example. When I was a kid and I watched Carson, I never thought that Carson was trying to be every man. Carson was doing his show. Carson did his jokes. But Carson was a fucking rich dude and he was well off.
Carson was just giving you a glimpse of show business every
Right,
night. But
exactly.
that was his job.
Right.
His job was to get big stars to come in and let you get a little gander at them and talk about Hollywood stuff. So
Yeah.
you're right. It's different when he did it, but when these podcasts are doing it. And by the way, even Carson, though, Carson wouldn't sit around and talk about the craft and how much it meant and how powerful what they were doing was. That's my problem with the podcasters and the comedians is everybody's like, man, it's like, you know, when you have influence like this and you're speaking truth to power, man. It's like, stop it. You just hang out and do your fucking jokes and get out of there. I don't know why. That's why we get along with Ryan Long. I like Ryan Long because he doesn't have some fucking philosophical fucking reason for comedy. He's like,
Or any male clothes.
or any male or good manners.
Yeah.
The point is that he says, like, I just want to be funny. Like, put me out there. I want to say funny shit.
You know what he does
if
have?
you say funny shit, I want to laugh at your funny. I don't want to sit here and fucking dissect it like a frog in biology class and go, well, what made that joke tick? It's like, let's be funny, man.
You know what he does have, though? A drug problem. So that's cool.
No, it's like the lawyer from Sleepers.
Yeah.
I also have a slight, in addition to the drinking problem, a slight drug problem.